So y'all don't think it's crazy how we are just supposed to fucking wake up, go to work, come home, do what you do, whatever the fuck you got time to do. Whatever you got time to do. Do that shit, go to sleep, wake up and do the shit all over again for the rest of your life. Just continue to do the same shit. Work, go home, go to sleep, go back to work. Do the same shit over and over. And don't not one person stop and think like, why the fuck is we even doing this shit? Or who the fuck even controlling this shit to where who came up with this shit? And why the fuck did God even tell y'all can run this shit? Don't nobody stop and think about this shit?
And one more thing before I get out of here. You ain't got to have a whole bunch of stuff for somebody to hate you. You can own a biscuit, a roll of tissue, and a fucking pillowcase. And a bitch will hate you for that. Because it ain't your stuff you got. It's you. It's you, bitch. It ain't your stuff. It's you. You ain't even got shit and they mad. You ain't even got nothing. But they mad. No, you got something. You got you. You ain't got a lot of stuff. Okay? You ain't got a lot of stuff. So what? You ain't need a lot of stuff. You got you. Your vibe is why people want you around. See, you one of them ones that people don't got to have around for their stuff. You know they fuck with you for real, because they like to have you around and you ain't even got nothing. They know you coming to the party without nothing, but guess what? They invite your ass every time. You know why? Because it's your vibe that they want there. You know what I'm saying? Your friends that invite you out to eat knowing that you don't got no money. And they tell you, bitch, I didn't ask you all that. Get dressed. Because it ain't about your money and what you got. It's your vibe, the reason why they want you there. They want you at that table in that room because of you, not because of the stuff you got. You can be a bitch with a whole bunch of stuff and nobody want to be around your motherfucking ass because you're a bitch and a hater and a miserable ass motherfucker. So you got cars and money and you trying to buy friends and shit and they still don't want to hang out with your motherfucking ass. And you putting the money up to the arm like this. You on your video rolling the cash over to your armpits and they still don't want to hang out with you. Because they don't like your spirit. You all fucked up and inside. Okay? So stop worrying about stuff and fix your damn self. Love you, bye.
I have a history book from 1903 that just admitted to the start of whitewashing American history. Within this period, too, there has been a gradual but constant shifting of the point of view from which the history of a country is regarded, and of the methods employed in teaching it. Descriptions of battles and of movements of armies have come to be considered of less importance, and the social conditions and industries of the people of far greater importance than they formerly were. I'd like to point out this is 1903. There has been no World War yet. The battles that they're referring to that they don't think are as important to talk about is going to be against Native Americans and the Civil War. And they make it sound like they're just not telling you, like, all the details of the plans, but they're not telling you how many people they killed. They're not telling you how they killed these people. They're not telling you how brutal it was. They're just telling you there was a war. That's all you need to know. There was a little tussle. That's all you need to know. And that was more than 100 years ago, so imagine all the shit we don't know now.
This is gonna sound crazy, and I know it sounds crazy because it feels crazy to say. I woke up really early this morning, planned on going to the gym, and something told me to go back to sleep. And I had a series of dreams, but the last one, it wasn't a dream. I woke up in my apartment and my parents were there. They looked really young though, like younger than I remember seeing them. But there was a table full of people on the terrace, like eating. My parents were leaving and they were about to go with my sister, and I felt like I was lost, like I didn't know what was going on. Some just told me to ask my parents because they looked so young. I said, what year is it? They said 2012, which made me feel like I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but didn't look accurate. And so I went over to the people that were sitting at the table. There was a dog there, and I said something to the dog, and they looked at me like I called him the wrong name. And I was like, oh no, I just said, hey, boy. What's his name again? And they told me his name was Hobbit. And then the boy took me in my bedroom and told me it was his bedroom. It was completely different. I said, who lives in the other bedroom? He said, his brother. And I knew for certain that I didn't know what was going on, but I didn't want to let anyone know because everyone was looking at me like I was supposed to know what was going on. And I was like, when did we meet again? And he was like, Christmas at your house. And I was like, in Woodstock? I just guessed because I was trying to figure out if I knew anything. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, who brought you? And he was like, my dad. What's your dad's name? Pat Brooks. I don't know who that is. But like, I asked him, how long had I been sleeping? Because apparently I had just waken up from a nap. And as I start to ask him questions, everything starts to fade. But like everything in me felt present. You know how you feel like dreams feel real? This didn't feel real. I knew that I was in a different something. And then I woke up. But the whole time I was like trying not to let everyone know that I didn't know what was happening. I even gave my mom a hug because I haven't seen her moving around in so long, and she was like stiff as a board. My mother is the most affectionate person I know. It just felt like a whole nother lifetime. Does that sound crazy? Does anybody know what that is? I don't know. It's getting weird out here.
If whatever future they saw in CERN was the future, if they're trying to get a stranglehold on society's mindset, they're going to show you the opposite outcome to control your mind. And it got me thinking, I've never seen a solar punk movie before. I've seen a few diesel punk themes, steampunk. I've seen obvious themes of cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077 is a video game, is what I'm thinking about. But I've never seen a movie that themes a solar punk society. And for whoever doesn't know what solar punk is, if you have Pinterest, go look up solar punk and look at the overall theme of that society. I think what they saw was that outcome. But in order for you to steer society to believe that there's helplessness, you're going to feed helplessness to people. You're going to mainly show movies like The Matrix. When you show movies like that, where we're being jacked in, where we lose, humanity lose, you've been priming humanity to believe that the bad guys are going to win. I truly don't believe that's what they saw in CERN. Whatever they saw, we won. But in order for us, I know for a few people that the programming, like movies like even like Independence Day, to make you believe that any alien being or whatever is going to come here and destroy us, that's going to be their first thing. That is how they get to you, feeding you helplessness. If you show children at a young age movies like, for me, the movie that really got to me was an anime called Metropolis. I can't get into that movie. That movie is so stressful, okay? But when you show movies like that to a young girl like me, for instance, where I grew up with a mother who believes in a solar punk future. She believes in the barter system. She raised me without necessarily telling me what it was, but subconsciously through the way she interacted with her community, she believed that there was already a natural exchange to things. So
I know when my mom was watching that movie Metropolis with me, it made her feel uncomfortable because she believed that technology can be used for godliness. But every time we see technology, there's never an emphasis with connecting technology with the divine. I don't believe what they saw was this Cyberpunk 2077 shit. They're trying to push it because they're trying to prime our brains, and they're doing a damn good job because they have the power to do it. It is our collective awareness that is going to wake us up out of this, honestly, because I do not believe that they have won. I personally don't believe it. Not only do I not believe it, I'm living the life that they already lost. That is how I'm living my life. But if you have seen a movie that is solar punk themed, please put it in the comments, because I want to see this movie, because I have yet to see an honest solar punk movie. Hydropunk, I've never seen shit like that. We always see it on a different planet. Avatar. I'm talking about on Earth, an alternate timeline, whatever, but it's on Earth. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. They fed us everything else, both in video games and in movies. And you know what? It's because they saw that we won. And they're trying to make us believe that we didn't.
So just an idea. What if we all just celebrated New Year's on the actual New Year's so that we can actually see growth and prosperity happen in our life? Like, what if we stop celebrating New Year's in the dead of winter, in the season of releasing, and actually celebrated New Year's in the spring, in the season of growth? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if we did that? What if we reset our natural biological clocks and we live this existence the way that we're supposed to? What if we did that? Because I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I celebrated New Year's in March this year. I had a very prosperous year. I had a very blessed year. Like, I got everything I wanted and more this year. What if we reset our biological clocks, stop following these European standards, and actually honed in on our divine and our natural rhythm? Y'all with me?
If you were born in your mom's stomach for 9 months, then how come you don't come out 9 months old yet? That doesn't make sense. How do you come out as being 0 years old? You're like 0 years old and a half by like 9 months. So if you think about it, like next week, you could be like a year older than you already think that you didn't know before. So like your age right now, let's say you're like 19 and you're watching this. So in reality, since you're like 9 months ahead of time because you were in your mom's stomach, that means you're like 19 and a half plus like a half of like a second before you weren't really born yet. So like you're like actually a cat and dog years, because like you're like 15, but then if you times that by 5, you might be over 18 of like the speed limit. You drive that, you know, the nice Honda, you know, banana peel. I think so.
It's like, bro, once you really sit down and think about it, everything in this motherfucker is designed for motherfuckers to fail. Like, I'm sitting here waiting to get my truck loaded so I can start my fucking day, you know, for the company that barely pays me enough to, you know, keep my life together slightly. And I can't just abruptly leave this motherfucker, because where else am I gonna get the money from? Like, I truly believe that I'm talented enough to, you know, make something happen and make something shake in like maybe 6 months to a year from now. However, where is that initial funding gonna come from? See what I'm saying? Food is bad for you. It's highly chemicalized, highly addictive, highly sugarized, and highly everything bad for you arised. And if you look up any health article, it tells you that you can't eat any of the shit that you eat on a daily fucking basis. But 9 times out of 10, that's either all you can afford or that's all that's available. Hospital bills is a fucking scam. Insurance is a fucking scam. Rent is a scam. Mortgages are scams. just living in general is a fucking scam. The majority of ways to make enough money really fast are very unethical and highly illegal. Yet the people who call it illegal are the ones who do it the fucking most. That's the craziest fucking part. You gotta hope your car doesn't fucking break down, because if it does, a mechanic's gonna hold the shit for months because he or she is backed up forever. And it's like, okay, you got my car. How the fuck am I supposed to get to and from? They tell you to save and invest and all this shit, but it's like you taking that investment as a risk. Now, you can't win life without taking a risk. However, if the shit don't work out, you're fucked. A lot of people stay up late as a bitch knowing they got to be to work tomorrow early as hell in the morning, only because their job took away the majority of their day, and the only way for them to feel some type of control over their life is to stay up past the point in which they know they need to go to sleep to get a productive day the next day. I can't remember exactly what that phrase is called, but it's a real thing. And then on top of that same subject, most people who do that, they stay up late because they don't want to go to work the next fucking day. This shit is a fucking scam, bro. And after all of this bullshit, you still got to get up and produce something. Whether you're man or woman, you still have to get up and produce something. Because if you do nothing, you're pretty much just going to be on the street. And it's like, knowing all that shit, bro, sometimes that shit gets to you, man. Sometimes it gets to you, but I can tell you this. Even though all of this bullshit is a real thing, and yeah, it does get to me too, I refuse to let this shit bring me down. I refuse. Because I know deep inside my fucking head, and it's more so on the forefront now. It used to be deep, but now it's like right up in here. I know for a fact that one of these days, none of this shit is going to matter, because I'm going to be in such a great position in my life that I'm going to be able to look back and be like, damn, I went through all this bullshit and struggle that the world just threw at me, and I came out on top. That may sound cartoonish, that may sound far-fetched, that may sound all kind of whatever the fuck you can think of. However, that's the only thing that keeps me fucking going. That is the only driving force in my life right now. It's not to be the best, it's not to be the greatest, it's not to be this, that. It is to get to the top of the fucking mountain through my own efforts and then show people that it's possible. Right? That's the only thing that's keeping me going right now. You got to find something to keep you going in this fucking crazy ass world we live in, bro. You got to find something.
There's some family members that will never, ever, 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 ever see me again or hear from me again. I will not be attending no more funerals. I don't care who you are. Okay? I go where I am celebrated, not tolerated. You know, when you walk in a room, you can feel the energy. You'll see the smiles and all the things that they do on the physical, but you can feel the energy and you can feel their spirit, and you know that they despise you. You know that they don't like you. They shun you. You hear conversations that they have about you behind your back. You around the children and you around cousins and certain people, and you know they've been talking about your ass. You can feel that energy. So when it comes down to family, you can't stand when they come around you, or they want to hit you up or call you, because you keep yourself away from them. So they just trying to pick information from out of you and be a monitoring spirit. And they just want information so they can go back and run and tell the rest of your family what you got going on, because you don't fool with these folks no more. I ain't got time for that. Family is not family no more. Sometimes family is not those who share the same blood as you, giving off this bad vibe and this bad energy. You feel them fake hugs. And what I can't stand is how certain family members will throw you under the bus, talk about you like a dog, ill-treat you, abuse you, misuse you, and then want to sit there and just brush things under the rug. See, when you are spiritually aware and when your discernment is just spot on, you can't be around these people. See, they're surface level. They lack awareness, so they can sit around each other. They can be fake. They can do all these family activities together and just act like nothing happened. But when it come down to you and you being so woke to just seeing the bigger picture of everything, you ain't got time to be sitting around people and y'all not really being able to have those deep conversations that's needed to talk about how things went wrong, or the differences in opinion, why there's this underlining friction or animosity between y'all. That stuff be needing to be talked about, and family don't like talking about it. And one thing I cannot stand is going around family and they want to defend the abuser and say that they're family, or say, you know, that's just how the way they are. Okay, so because they toxic, I got to deal with that? I ain't dealing with that. And don't even let it be someone who is a pedophile or someone who sexually abuses family members, they act as if they turn a blind eye because they just want you to stay silent today. Don't nobody want to be around that. Y'all will shun the baby mamas, shun the gays, shun the alcoholics, shun the druggies, shun whoever you think is not up to par. But y'all will sit there and protect that molester. Y'all will sit there and protect the messy bitch in the family. Y'all will sit there and protect the narcissistic people. You know what I'm saying? That just don't make no doggone sense. Like, family is not family no more. And at the end of the day, I don't want to be around that. I don't want to be around nobody where I feel like they tolerating me or they just trying to be around me just to keep score or to see what I got going on. I ain't with that.
The American dream is so dead, people don't even want to pass it on to their own kids. I read an article about how this is the hugest decline, right, in Americans having children. Americans are not having enough children for the first time in history to replace, themselves, right? But why would somebody bring children into this world, in America specifically? Why would you purposely have a baby in America? Why would a woman even do that? You don't have any control over your body. Government has ultimate control over your vessel. Hell, government will even keep you alive as a host when you're dead just to make sure it can force you to give birth to that baby. So I don't see the benefit for women, frankly, to have babies. America is not a place for families, It's obviously not a place for families. It's not set up that way. They tax families into oblivion. So why would you sign up for that? So no, that's why people aren't having babies. America, if you want young people to have babies, how about you make this economy affordable? Because right now it's not. It's really set up just for rich people to have babies. So go have the rich women. Oh, that's right. They don't want to have rich women have a whole bunch of babies because their kids are not going to work in factories and stuff. It's supposed to be our kids work in factories. Like I said, that's why people are not having kids. Why the hell would we have kids? Why would anybody have kids in this environment? Why would anybody have kids in this environment? It's not a good environment for children. So, kudos to the young folk. If you smart, keep your dress down and your panties up.
Quick thought. Did you know that age don't exist, nor does time? Throughout history, we had over 20 to 30 calendars, right? Today, in the Western civilized world, we go by Gregorian calendar, right? Once was a Julian calendar, a Greek calendar, a Mayan calendar, Aztec calendar, all these different calendars to dictate and rotate or dictate the movement of the sun, how it relates to the moon, right? That's why you have solar and lunar calendars. But did you know that there's an Ethiopian calendar that exists right now, and it's 2017 in that calendar that they go by right now? So 2025 don't exist. And the age that you are, you can't count that because what calendar you going by to count it? You're not even your age because the calendars you go by is man-made. We're ageless.
Every time I hear someone say, I didn't ask to be born, what do you think was going to happen? Do you think that you're just going to ask, can I please not be born, and that was going to happen? You were born for a reason, and you obviously have some type of purpose in this world. You are important in some way. You just got to find that importance in yourself. It might be through saving people. It might be through a career. It might be through love. But you matter enough to be created in this world. So you need to use what you got and make something out of yourself. And I'll tell you this right now, you most definitely matter to somebody.